I'm Sabrina Tughan, joined by another of our outstanding panel of sports journalists. With me now is David Walker, who boasts a fantastic career in posts, such as sports editor at the Mirror Group, chief football reporter at the Daily Mail, and director of PR and corporate affairs at Leeds United. Thanks for joining me, David. With such a varied career, are you able to pin down a specific highlight so far?
Gosh, I think because of the differing natures of the job, I think personally reflecting on some highlights, I went to a number of World Cups, for instance, so I'd say the World Cup in Italy, Italia 90. I know I'm not the only journalist, that was fantastic. The passion of the Italian people, what staging a World Cup meant to them. It was absolutely brilliant as an experience, a great place to be. And whilst some of the football wasn't that exciting, and I remember being in that group down in Sicily and Sardinia with England, Republic of Ireland, Holland and Egypt, there were some fairly tedious matches in that, but the experience was first class. With Leeds, it's got to be our Champions League season. I'm relieved I actually left Leeds in 2003 before the meltdown, but I was there for the high of the Champions League where we reached the semi-final, played some great football along the way, and it was a great time in Leeds. But the counterpoint to Leeds was within the same sphere, we had the trial of some of our players for attacking an Asian boy in Leeds. All the players were found not guilty of grievous bodily harm, so it moved on. But those are the highs and lows of that. In the media, I suppose there's been one or two stories that I was particularly proud of. But hey, at the end of the day, I was trying to earn a living as honestly as I could, and I had a wonderful career in journalism and football, and overall I'd look on it as fantastic.
Perfect, thank you. How did you get to where you are? Is there a certain path you've had to follow to progress, such as prestigious positions?
Gosh, how did I get here? Well, what happened was I was going to read English at university, and I enjoyed English at school and thought this is something I'd like to do. And then I weighed it up, and this is no criticism of my old English teachers because they were very good, but I thought, do you know what? I could end up being an English teacher teaching set text. So, for instance, if you're looking at various Shakespeare plays, I thought I might do this, and it keeps coming round on a rota every few years, and it wasn't dynamic enough for me. So I was weighing up, if that's not my chosen forte, what can I do? And there was a job advertised, and basically it was a training scheme. Do you want to be a sports journalist? So I spoke to the colleges who were offering me places, and I said, how would you feel if I defer it? Mm-hmm. But if it doesn't work for me, or the newspaper don't like me, they want to get rid of me, how about I come back? And of course they preferred a more mature student, even if it was a year. So fine. Well, however many years later, 40 years later, whatever, I was still in sports newspapers, and that was the career that was meant for me, and I've got to say I never regretted it.
Lovely. How did you find the transitions between working as a reporter and working in PR?
Oh, difficult, very difficult, because there was an excitement level to breaking stories, and before I went to Leeds, I'd had 3 years as the deputy sports editor of the Mail on Sunday. And I remember that, and we had a fantastic, absolutely brilliant group of journalists there across the board, both as news diggers, great feature writers. Patrick Collins was our columnist. And I've got to say, it was one of the best teams, and production people who designed, really eye-catching pages. So it was a wonderful period of my life and career. So to actually step out of that and leave then in the year 2000 to go to Leeds, it was a big call. And yet I'd always had this belief I'd like to work in a football club. I knew Leeds very well. I covered it from way back in 1973. So I knew the club, knew the city, and I knew the challenges involved with it. And I wanted to give it a go, sort of thing. And I did. The frustrations are, of course, that you've then withdrawn from that immediacy of breaking stories, doing this. But on the other hand, as I mentioned in an earlier answer, you have the highs like getting in the Champions League, getting to a semi-final. Yeah, we wish we'd gone further, etc. But there were some great moments in there.
And lastly, what's the best piece of advice you can give to our aspiring sports journalists?
write and tell the truth, take notes of what you see, hear and are going to do, and keep those notes if you ever need to prove it, and basically be honest to yourself and to your employers. Now, it could be that you're a freelance young reporter, it could be that you're working, within an agency, or hopefully one day working for a major, media outlet, be it television, website, or newspaper. But if you focus on those key principles, you won't go far wrong. And as I've said before, if you can get mentors along the way who will help you and give you the benefit, it's not they tell you how to deal with everything in your life, but suddenly something, I was blessed by having 2 or 3 people I really respected who had great values within the world of journalism. And the number of times I've thought, how would he handle that? Or that tallies with the story he told me, the pressure he was under to do something. And when he felt it was wrong, how he resisted people saying you've got to do it. So I do think mentors have a value to you. But if you stick to those things and you've got some ability, you can go far.
Perfect. Thanks again, David.
My pleasure.
We've nearly reached the end of the 2019 Media Festival here at the University of Gloucestershire, but stay tuned on the website at eurogmediafest.com for all the aftermath and information still to come.